Deputy National President of Nigerian Guild of Editors, and is the Chief Executive of Sky Limit Media Group. So he will be continuing for where we'll stop. But I want to say that the last week has been very, very, very active in terms of security in the country across the Federation. There have been some relative calm in some areas, and there have been some not too good news coming out in some places. But in all, I will believe that everybody working together will get our security much better and the way it should be. This week, the week ahead of us, also is another week of political activities. For those that lives in Abuja and environment, I know they will be receiving a lot of visitors because I think the ruling All People's Congress, APC, will be having their presidential primaries to select who, and a lot of activities. A lot of people have said the outcome of that Congress may result to a lot of security breaches or may help to resolve some of it. That's what we're looking out for, and we know that all the security agencies are actually at alert to ensure that there are no breaches in our security in the coming days. But we will continue, like I said, with our discussion, but that will be after some of the reports we have. Precisely May 27, 2021, exactly last year and some days now, the President Muhammadu Buhari appointed Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya as the 22nd Chief of Army Staff. We looked at what he has done and how to interact with some people to find out their views. Sit back as we bring you this report put together by Elizabeth Tanko.
On Thursday, the 27th of May 2021, the Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari appointed the then Theater Commander Operation Hadin Kai, Major General Farouk Yahya, as the 22nd Chief of Army Staff of the Nigerian Army. On assumption of office, the new Chief of Army Staff, after his inspection of the Guard of Honor, addressed principal staff officers at the Army headquarters, where he promised to bring about a paradigm shift in the Nigerian Army. After his decoration with the new rank as a Lieutenant General by the Commander-in-Chief President Muhammadu Buhari, the Chief of Army Staff quickly commenced tours of all Nigerian Army theaters of operations, divisions, and formations nationwide, where he articulated his vision and mission for the Nigerian Army. Like a man on a mission, he visited his soldiers and officers in the front line and ensured that their needs were provided in line with his belief that a motivated troop is a bedrock for success in any operation.
I urge us not to relent. I know we will not. But to continue with what we have started, and we will get there. I want once again appreciate you and appreciate and thank the President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, for his strategic guidance and for all the support and the confidence we repose in the Nigerian Army.
Some of his field commanders attest to the positive effect of General Yahya's leadership to their operations.
I'm sure you've seen what the Chief of Army Staff is doing all over the country. And he is somebody who is very, very fair, he's very open, and he's very experienced. I think that's also playing out for him because he grew up through the units, all through. So he understands a soldier. He knows what soldiering means. He knows what difficulty, what challenges that is being faced. And he just left here. So he knows these things particularly. So he's not somebody who was just probably in the office and just came out to become Chief of Army Staff. He has been in the field all through his life. He's somebody that you want to learn a lot, because I can guarantee you that religion, tribe doesn't bother him. He doesn't look at that at all. His own is performance.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, has given all field commanders operational directives, guidance, very succinctly crafted, in line with the security realities.
In line with the Chief of Army Staff's vision, which is to have a professional Nigerian army
ready to accomplish assigned missions within a joint environment in defense of Nigeria, formations and units of 82 Division have been working with sister services. By this I mean the Air Force and the Navy formations and units deployed across the Southeast Zone and Cross River State, including Benue State, and other security agencies, the Police, Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Road Safety Corps, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and all other agencies to ensure that the mandate of the federal government to protect lives and property is accomplished.
Since May 2021, over 60,000 Boko Haram and Islamic State West African province terrorists and their families have surrendered to the Nigerian army personnel at the front line. These, according to some Nigerians, is a fallout from the positive impact of General Yaya's leadership. A public affairs analyst, Chimezem Ayadike, spoke on the impact of the current Chief of Army Staff leadership in the last 1 year.
I think he has done very, very well in the sense that we've been receiving information not just about the insurgents in the southeast, but in other parts of the country, the effectiveness of the Nigerian army, how they've been achieving a lot of gains, how they've been achieving a lot of victories, especially with regards to degrading the activities of these hostiles and these enemies of state. With regards to the Northeast, we've seen how effective they've been in ensuring that ISWAP or Boko Haram have been reduced to launching very little attacks from across the Nigerian borders with Chad and Niger. So as against what was obtainable in the past, where they had established presence in Nigeria and were in charge of some local governments. In as much as, yes, there have been some downsides to everything, but we are still grateful that so far so good. There have been a lot of successes recorded by the Nigerian army within the 1 year of the current Chief of Army Staff against the enemies of the state.
In 1 year, the Nigerian army under the leadership of Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya have shown resilience and commitment in the fight against terrorism and insurgency in Nigeria and demonstrated loyalty in its support in internal security. It is safe to say that if the Nigerian army continues in this step and with the support of Nigerians, the country will surmount current disturbing banditry, terrorism, and insurgency challenges. Elizabeth Tanko, reporting for Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yes, that was a report put together to look at what the Chief of Army Staff have done. I'll be taking on Malam Bagaya to talk about what his own perception is, how he sees that. But let's take this report on also preparatory to the coming elections. What is the Nigerian police doing? The Inspector General of Police had a meeting with his strategic police managers, and sit back as we bring you what happened at that meeting as put together by Peggy Agbe.
Countdown to the 2023 general elections has begun, and so many people are concerned about how security during the electioneering process is being arranged. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Usman Al-Kalibaba, disclosed during his monthly meeting with his strategic police managers that his management has worked out an election security management training for personnel of the Nigeria Police Force.
The meeting is aimed at interfacing with field commanders in evaluating the current political trends, assess possible threats, and commence the groundwork for the upcoming off-season gubernatorial election in Ekiti and Osun State, as well as sharpen our strategies ahead of the 2023 general election. The third objective is to officially launch Specialized Services Automation Project, POSAP, as approved by the federal government.
Viewing the current security challenges in the country, he disclosed some achievements being recorded and many steps being taken to ensure that the Nigeria Police Force improve their performances with the purchase and distribution of 530 vehicles and crime-fighting equipment nationwide.
I am delighted to note that we have continued to sustain our anti-crime activities as well as our police reform agenda. In furtherance to this, we have since the beginning of this year been strengthening our logistics and operational capacity through the procurement and deployment of over 530 operational vehicles, including armored personnel carriers and patrol banks. 283 of these operational vehicles were procured within the Nigerian Police budgetary provisions by the force leadership, while 200 were procured through the intervention of the Nigeria Police Trust Fund. 31 additional vehicles were acquired by the Ministry of Police Affairs for the police, while 16 others were donated to the force by the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority for the purpose of enhancing our operations along the Kaduna-Abuja highway.
To ease the public getting across to the police in case of emergency, he announced that the police management has secured the approval of the Nigeria Communication Commission, NCC, for a short code.
In order to enhance the attainment of our internal security mandate, I am also to confirm that we have secured approval of the National Communication Commission for the allocation of a national police shortcut for pre-emergency calls and the information sharing between the police and citizens. The acquisition of the shortcut, which is 933, is a hallmark initiative by the force leadership to bridge the age-long emergency communication gap between the police and members of the public since the disappearance of the code we know, popularly known as 911. The code will soon be formally launched, that is 933.
All of these are in line with the IGP's vision of tackling the recurrent insecurity situation in the country. Peggy Agbe, Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yes, I'll just quickly go straight to my guests, which I introduced earlier. Madam Suleiman Bagaya, the former Deputy National President, Nigerian Guild of Editors, and Chief Executive of Skylimit Media Group. It's a pleasure to have you again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, quickly, because time is not our friend on this program, but let's see what we can do with the short time we have. Can you say something about the 1 year of General Farouk Yahaya?
Definitely a lot of things to see. Unfortunately, as you correctly said, time is our enemy. We don't really have that luxury to say it all. We can only mention a few. But I think Major General Chris Musa, the incumbent theater commander Operation Lafiadola, has said it all.
Hadinka, Operation Hadinka.
Oh, sorry, Operation Hadinka, I've forgotten. I'm more used to the other name, Operation.
Yes.
That's the name they had for about 6 years also when General Burate was the army chief. So this one was changed lately, and I still have not internalized it. So really, I remember a year ago I was on this same program, and we held the appointment of then Major General Farouk Yahaya as the 22nd Chief of Army Staff. We knew him to be a well-grounded, experienced, credible officer, and so far he has not disappointed. You know, one thing that I think is going for him is his belief that continuity is key in making progress in any human establishment. And in that wise, he has, deepened some of the achievements of his predecessors, especially the one that has served longest, General Burate. You know, in terms of troops welfare, in terms of also deepening relationship with the troops, by way of going to them, meeting them in the trenches, during festivities, he serves them meals, as his predecessor had done, you know, making them see themselves as valuable and valuable products for the nation. So Farouk Yahaya has achieved that. Every area of staff welfare, including also barracks rehabilitation, have been deepened by him, just as it was achieved before him. Then also the operational capability of the Nigerian Army has been totally transformed to the level where Boko Haram could be in many ways said to be defeated, to have been defeated, because you see, for the first time, we have had a large number of terrorists surrendering in several thousands to the troops, with their family members also. And you can hardly even hear about attacks, apart from cowardly attacks in the southeast. So most of attacks have been reduced. I'm not saying it has been, it has stopped completely.
No,
of course, we are talking about guerrilla warfare. These kind of things are bound to continue, maybe for some time. But we are talking about the real substance of the war. That substance, if that's what we are looking at, honestly speaking, the Nigerian army, in collaboration with other security and intelligence services, has largely defeated the Boko Haram terrorists. Then the banditry. Farouk Yahya, Lieutenant General, comes from Sokoto. Unfortunately, a state that is afflicted by, this banditry.
Yes.
Yeah, but he is trying his best in terms of reducing the efficacy of the enemies of state to continue to strike at will.
In the next edition of this program, we're going to look at it very seriously, this issue of banditry. Why has it continued? Because it's the next phase of issue that needs to be looked into.
Yeah, definitely, because we cannot really, President Buhari cannot have the kind of legacy he's wishing for. He has less than a year to go, and he cannot really go on the kind of glorious note he hopes for if the rate of insurgency, banditry is not tremendously, it has been reduced tremendously. But more needs to be done by way of quashing it completely, eradicating it completely, so that what we are going to have in Nigeria is a country where people can move about without the fear of being kidnapped or being attacked by any of the enemies of state.
Yeah, I think we'll be looking at how can that be achieved in the software edition of this program. But let's look at one aspect. At the last program last week, we did talk about who can fit in, what kind of persons, even as the parties are selecting who will compete, who will represent them in the coming election. And of course, from what the parties are selected, one of them will definitely become the president, the governors, and all that. The People's Democratic Party have done theirs. We know who he is. The APC, the ruling party, is yet to do theirs, which will be who is coming up. Can you tell us how can the delegates now, because not the general population that will select now, what should they look for in the person to be selected?
Honestly, at the last program, which I was privileged to feature, we did mention some of the qualities. If, for example, you are a governor or a former governor, you must have a record of, defining human development, for example, paying staff salaries, paying pensions, and things like that. God so kind, we have about 4 major political parties that have fielded or that are fielding presidential candidates. The Labour Party has Peter Obi, PDP has Atiku Abubakar, then NNPP has my former governor, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, engineer.
So have they done their primaries?
Yeah, they have.
Okay.
He has won. He is the candidate now. Then what remains is APC. And perhaps that is the biggest one because it's the ruling party.
Yes.
You see, there are, for me, about 3 major candidates, and my own interest is their security agenda. Who are these leading candidates as far as I am concerned? They are Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Rotimi Amechi, and Senator Ahmed Lawan. If you look at them as quickly as possible, I will have settled for Tinubu, because certainly he has achieved a lot when he was governor of Lagos State in terms of security. But unfortunately, the issue of his running mate is going to be a major clock in his own will.
That will be for politicians.
Yeah, that is for politicians, you see. Rotimi Amechi has edge on his side. He has dynamism, loyalty, and a lot of other positive factors going for him. So if I were to choose, if I were a delegate, certainly I will go for such a person. He has all that is needed to be president of Nigeria. He doesn't have baggage. Forget about the judgment of the Supreme Court last week that he should go back to Rivers State Commission of Inquiry and answer to the charges. But the Supreme Court also was very clear that he was not on trial. and that the Commission of Inquiry doesn't have powers to indict anybody. The powers it has is only investigative. So then Senator Ahmed Lawal, of course, another very vibrant person. Unfortunately for me, if we are talking about justice and fairness, the presidency should go to the South this time around. And unfortunately, Senator Ahmed Lawal, who also has it on his side, dynamism, loyalty on his side, doesn't fit in there. He is a northerner from Yobe State. So perhaps since he has it on his side, he can wait till maybe the next 4 years or 8 years to take over from whoever. I want to warn the APC that they need to be very careful, because if they really want to retain power next year, they have to be mindful of the fact that there are major contenders in the other parties, especially Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar is not a joke. You can't just defeat Atiku just like that. So you need to get your acts together, make sure the right thing is done, make sure sentiment or money politics are not allowed to play roles.
But for us, that is politics.
Exactly.
Is that who has the security agenda?
Yes, actually, I'm emphasizing also on
Amechi also have some of these strong security chiefs with him, backing him.
Yeah, he has former IGP Suleiman Abba, he has former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Brate. So I think he has a few others. So and of course, he achieved quite a lot when he was governor of Rivers State. It used to be volatile before he became governor.
But let's leave that aside now. Okay. But let's look at the issue of the election proper. Okay. How do we go into election without crisis? During the primaries, some people were killed. States and the National Assembly primaries, some people lost so many lives in the country. Why is it so? Should we continue that way?
Well, you see, the political parties need to, on their own, do a lot in terms of sensitizing their adherents to the need for peace, that this thing is not about do or die. And luckily for us, the Police Inspector General, Usman Al-Kali Baba, is up and doing, since he rolled out his 12-point agenda upon his appointment by President Muhammadu Buhari, he has been up and doing also rolling back the successes of these deviants in the society. So I think by next year, I mean by the time we are going to have the election next year, with the new electoral act has allowed for about 9 months of campaign. I don't know why they did that. I'm not a legislator, but for me it hardly makes much sense. You know, it will
be so expensive.
It's so expensive and very cumbersome. Also, the polity will be heated. There will be so much desperation. At the end of the day, after having spent several millions, you are desperate to be returned. You know, billions, exactly. So the desperation will now result in the polity getting heated. And that will not be to the advantage of Nigeria. So the steps that should be taken are probably 3. 1, the society needs to, every parent needs to check his children. If they are politically conscious or political participants, warn them not to engage in any violence.
Yeah.
Then the politicians themselves, they have to consider the fact that these are children of other people. They shouldn't use other people's children.
Because most of these politicians don't bring their children.
No, they don't bring their children. So please, I'm appealing to young Nigerians, because they are the ones being used in these kind of things, not allow themselves to be used by anybody. Then, of course, the security services, they need to up their game. I know they are doing a lot. Unfortunately, I also know they are also severely overstretched. But nevertheless, let them continue to up their game, make sure that these enemies of state do not have an overhand over them. So these are the issues. So the society, starting from the parents, then the larger society and then the security services. And of course, there are 2 major agencies there, the Nigerian Police and the Department of State Services.
Yeah.
These are the institutions that should do more in terms of deepening internet security, making sure these deviants do not have the chance to violate the law or to assault anyone.
Okay. Now, by next episode of this program, if you're available, we're looking at the issue of, you talked about the legacy that the current President Buhari will be leaving, which is because one of the things he pointed is the issue of security. And so far, some Nigerians will say no, he has not done so well. Some will say yes, relatively, if you compare to where we're coming from. But looking at the issues of banditry, which she came up so strongly. Next edition, we'll be looking at how best can we tackle this. But as a snippet too, what do you think should be done?
Honestly, I think it is erroneous to say this administration has not achieved much in terms of security. You remember the fact that Boko Haram was in control of at least 2/3 of Borno State, which was said to be the size of Belgium. You know, Boko Haram doesn't have full control over any local government as we speak. In fact, even Boko Haram members, as I mentioned earlier, are surrendering in large numbers.
Yeah, but some bandits are controlling, like Niger State, about 13 local governments and some other areas now.
Yeah, they are not entirely controlling those local governments, but they are predominant.
Okay.
Yeah, they are predominant. And certainly efforts are being made. I'm not a security official, but I'm aware of the, for being a journalist, we do investigate things.
Yeah, I know you go to the field too.
Exactly.
And
so efforts are being made to curtail those excesses of the deviants.
All right.
And I want to believe maybe by the end of the year we'll sit down here and celebrate the achievements.
Okay, it's a pleasure having you again on the program.
Thank you so much.
Viewers, if you're sorry, we have to sign on for other programs to continue. But if you have enjoyed watching this, join us again next week when we bring you another discussion, another interesting reports on what is happening to our security and our security, not only in Nigeria, in Africa. My name is Patrick Abambo. Until we come here again next week, I say thanks for staying tuned and bye for now.